Good evening, everybody, and it would help if I talk in world. There we go. Good evening, everybody.
Loud and free.
Welcome to the UFL Pulse Show, week, I believe, week 13. I'll have my card up here to kind of guide me through and hold my hand. So, welcome everybody. We are at the UFL Stadium once again. Got my co-host here, Matt Asadar, Psych Troglodyte, and Dre Courts. Welcome, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Doing
Doing,
good.
yep, doing well.
Awesome. So we got another quick jam-packed show, and without further ado, I'm just going to pass it over to Matt, as is tradition.
As it is. Yeah, like I said, we are here at the UFL field once again, but I believe Mr. Dre has swung it for us. We will be with the Warriors. That's right, Dre, next
Yeah,
week?
Warriors next week.
All right, so that just leaves, I think, Patriots, Yellow Jackets, and Packers. I'm calling you out on the air, teams. Please let us spend some time with you, even if you don't like us. But anyways, like I said, welcome to the Pulse Week 13. Guys, we have two, well, really 3 weeks, including the reschedule week left before. So we're 3 weeks away from the first round of the playoffs. We're going to talk about week 12, we're going to talk about week 13, and we're going to talk about the playoffs because the race on both sides of this league are very, very tight, and a lot is up in the air as we head down the stretch here. And that's what you like to see. The top, parts of the conferences have kind of, a couple of teams have already clinched playoff berths. Some seeding is still up in the air, but there are three, possibly four of the 8 spots that are still up for grabs as we head into the final 3 weeks of the regular season. But like Tom said, I'm Matt, Syke, and Ray, and we are going to get rolling right on into the Players Club Week 12 review. We saw on Friday night, we saw the Cowboys defeat the Bulldogs 62-0. Saturday, we had a doubleheader. The early game, we saw the Bills defeat the Cobras 82-0. Saturday, late game, we saw the Patriots defeat the Falcons 44-7. Sunday, everyone had off, got to spend time with your mom on Mother's Day, and so no games there. And Monday, we had the Warriors 43 and the Eagles 3. And guys, I sat back, I look at these scores, and there were no close games this weekend. So we'll start off with the Cowboys 62-0 win over the Bulldogs. Psych, any surprises for you in this one?
No, not really. I just they are what they are at this point. I think the Cowboys are still playing strong. Their competition probably not so much. Just as far as goals and what they've got left. I think some teams are kind of chalking it up. I think you'll see that as the theme across the board with some of the games this weekend or the past weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was kind of story unfolded as we expected. We had called, for the Cowboys to step it up, and they took the opportunity against the Bulldogs to put on a really strong performance, 62-0 over the Bulldogs. Pick was the player of the game there. Dre or Tom, any thoughts on this one? If not, maybe we'll roll on into the next one.
Yeah,
No, none from me. Yeah.
I'm gonna quote old Dennis Green. He said, I don't know if y'all remember it, but they've kind of like outplayed it. But he used to
They
say,
were who we thought they were.
yeah, exactly.
We let them off the hook.
You caught it.
There you
But
go,
I mean,
guys.
that was exactly what happened here. I mean, yeah, the Bulldogs were was exactly what we thought was gonna happen. So
Yep. And Saturday early game, I believe that the conversation about this one's going to be maybe even shorter than the last game. Bills 82, Cobra 0. Chris Taco, one of the Lieutenant Dan's player of the game there. We called this as the largest margin of victory for the week, and it was that. Bills absolutely did everything we thought that they would, and won in a fashion that I think we all expected. Anyone have any thoughts about this one?
Nope, nothing from me, Bob.
Thanks. Like Drake.
Uh, Scoreboard don't lie.
That's right.
There you go.
yeah, yeah. Scoreboard don't lie.
All right. Easy enough. This,
Next.
this, this is what I like. We just roll right through these babies. Saturday, the late game, we saw the Patriots 44, Falcons 7. Um, you know, I think most of us picked the Patriots to win this game, if not all of us did.
But hey, they got
Uh,
the most points out of the losing teams.
Hey, they did, and I don't know if we anticipated a 44-7 beat. I know we were talking about the Falcons kind of the way they've been trending lately over the past couple of weeks. And the Patriots really starting to turn it around pretty much ever since Tupac's illness. We saw that team really start turning it on, and 44-7, very impressive win there. Dre, what'd you think about this one?
I mean, I kind of figured the Patriots were going to run away with it. I don't know if I would have put them, winning that much. Because I mean, I think the Falcons actually had Zev out there with them. So it was a lot worse than what I thought it was going to be. But I mean, we always suspected, the Falcons to lose.
Oh yeah, I ref that game. I was there.
Psych, any thoughts? We'll go
Oh
to you
my
last
God.
time.
I was curious. You done got me fired up for Tom's predictions or Tom's observations over there. So I'll just keep it
Tom doesn't even know where he is half the time.
right. No,
It's
I
about
thought
truth lately.
I thought that the Falcons. We are on Falcons Patriots. I got sidetracked
Yes.
talking about Tom's observation. I actually thought this was a stronger than normal performance from the Falcons, and things just did not go their way. They had a drive early on when it was just 7-0, where they were moving the ball really well and resulted in a fumble. Couple of picks late. Now those, you give credit to the defense for, but the Falcons did not play bad in this game. Not nearly as bad as the scoreboard let out. And that too, was just more of a testament to what the Patriots are doing right now. We scrimmed them earlier in the week, and they are hitting on all cylinders. So I think this team moving in the right direction, and I don't think the Falcons had anything to feel bad about by the time this thing was over.
All right, Tom, you were there, or so you think you were. What did you see?
I mean, as said before, they had some amazing offensive drives, but they would get it, towards the red zone, or they'd start off great in a drive, and then towards the end it would just fizzle, and that was pretty much the entire time. Zev was killing them on that right side. Zev would, he'd go out and he'd be in double coverage, and every single time he touched the ball, it was on a comeback route, and they were just the cornerback was just not playing under him enough to prevent that, and every single time he'd get it, and they just weren't able to all the way capitalize and go forward into the end zone. I mean, there were some great interceptions by Zev in the in the backfield. The Patriots were getting ready to score some more points, and Zev taking the ball away quite a bit. I mean, the Falcons played a great game. Just up against the Patriots, they just weren't able to, to go all the way. So I mean, the team's looking up. When they get Zev on the field, Baldev's got his target, and everybody knows it. He definitely showed it in that game. Just one after another, over to Zev, and Zev. There were a couple of interceptions there with the big, massive, the big bunch throws. Basically, everybody kind of bundles up, but yeah, they just weren't able to go through it. And I think one of the biggest things is Baldev gets end zone eyes, and as the further and further up he gets, he forgets to take it 10 at a time, and he wants to really bomb it down and just get that amazing pass and amazing catch instead of just working it up 10 at a time. And I really think that's one of the things that really hammers him, and dropping back 40 yards. So
Yeah, patience is really big, especially on the
absolutely.
offensive side. Taking the opportunities the team give you. I was here for this game. A lot of turnovers. There was a
Yep.
point in the game where it was pick, pick,
Yep.
pick,
Back and
fumble,
forth.
pick, pick, and I mean nothing was happening in the Patriots. Just steadily increased and pulled away. Fearsome once again, and I think that's like the fourth week in a row now this guy's been named the player of the game, representing his team there. And like we said, Sunday was Mother's Day. No games there.
The
And then
mothers won that
Monday,
day.
yep, my mother's one, mama's one. Um, Monday we had the Warriors against the Eagles, and what was tabbed as the Shining Starlets game of the week, and was anything but that. Another dominant performance we saw on the field. Warriors 43, Eagles 3. Um, let's see, Psych, what do you think?
I think now you should invest heavily in United States Post Office stock because this is a team that's just mailed it in 100%. They're not playing with any of the same swag or step or fire that they did at the beginning of the season. It's breaking my heart because I picked this team to finish like as the surprise of the year team nominee, and I mean you just haven't seen it at all. This team's not who they were. You've got their best receivers playing on the line. Just things aren't happening like they should for that team, and it's hard to really say why. It's probably not any one person's fault. It hurts to watch. It's somebody that really had high hopes and expectations for them.
We got Tom.
It's kind of it's just about the same thing. The Eagles are really really pushing it and really trying to put forward and continue going and continue growing. Just going up with the Warriors, it was just it was one of those David Goliath kind of situations, but Goliath won.
At least you got the story. Jesus, that's the whole thing. Never mind. All right, Dre, what you got?
These are late night shows. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
Well, the Eagles started the season off really, really good. I mean, they started off winning, I think, 3 of their first 4 matches. They were rolling. They were beating teams and playing with teams that we wouldn't have thought they were going to play with. And it just seems like the last 4 and 5 weeks they've just hit rock bottom. And I don't want to say they've kind of threw the towel in, like they're giving up. I just think they've just had bad luck, or maybe they just haven't been playing the way they should. I don't think they're giving up. They shouldn't give up. I mean, they're still in the playoff hunt. I mean, they have to win, of course, or with some help. I think their next game is the Dolphins. So I mean, I really would like to see them turn it around because I mean they have some talented players. I just really wish they would figure out what they need to do to get back on the winning side of football.
Yeah, I commentated the game, and and we discussed it throughout the night. Just how the difference in the Eagles that we've seen, the falling off, I guess you would say, from the beginning of the season. I know they've had some personnel changes and they've had some issues go on in that camp as well. Um, you know, uh, the Warriors. We flip the script. We look over at them. Pretty impressive win. They dominated the entire game, both sides of the ball. They have a stretch coming up to try to make a push to the playoffs. And if you're the Warriors and you sit back, whether the Eagles are trying or whether they're not, you get a 40-point victory and you dominate on both sides of the ball. That gives you a little bit of momentum heading into this stretch where they're going to have 3 consecutive conference games. I don't think the Warriors have won a conference game yet, but if they win the next 3 in a row, they'll be right there for one of those last playoff spots, pushing up with the Mustangs within the Yellow Jackets. And I think they actually face the Yellow Jackets in one of those last games. But we just we kind of lumped. I did, and I say we. I kind of lumped the Patriots and the Eagles together about 3 weeks ago. I said these are 2 teams that I felt were in complete and total tailspins. I mean, falling down. Patriots are losing games they shouldn't have been losing, in my opinion. Eagles doing the same thing. We've seen the Patriots get in here, turn the entire thing around, and start, I mean, dominating games again like they were in the first part of the season. And the Eagles, like you said, you hate to say that someone's mailed it in, or you think they do, but just the intensity that we used to see them play, the decisions that we used to see their players make are not there anymore. It's like they were just kind of out there, and watching the game, it was pretty evident that it wasn't all there. Like you said, their best receiver is on the line of scrimmage, and there are opportunities that Nathan had. He throws the ball. His receivers were nowhere close to making any of the grabs. I think they had 2 completions the entire night. They had 2 potential touchdowns. I think maybe 3. That the receiver, I mean, just wasn't even close. Didn't even run near the ball. And you look and go, okay, well, you got your best receiver sitting on the line. Not that line isn't important, but when you're down, 20 points at that time, maybe it's time to move him. And whatever the reasons are, that you put a player on the line, I'm pretty sure that Nathan or the team had those. Um, but you know, you're in the playoff hunt. You're pushing here toward the end of the season, and if the Eagles don't find a way to turn it around, I think they only have one game left, and it is against us in the
Yeah,
final
they
week of the season. I mean, they have. I mean, if not, then I mean they're going to be one and done when they get into the playoffs if they do make it playing at this rate and the way that they've been playing lately. So.
yeah, I
But
mean to kind
just
of
go ahead,
I'm
Tom.
sorry, go
Psych, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say to follow up on that. I mean, this is a team they really picked a bad spot to need a win. I mean, it's kind of like with our remaining schedule that we were looking at earlier, we got Yellow Jackets and Bills. Well, obviously we want to go take care of business this week because it's probably going to be a little bit easier than the following week. The Eagles had that shot this week and fell horribly on their face. And to say that the talent is going to be elevated this week is really an understatement. So I don't know, man. I just feel like that they've kind of missed their window.
Well, I kind of think, just looking at the playoff picture, I think, right now they're sitting at 3-2 in the conference. They do have the Dolphins. We can all kind of chalk that one up as, a win for the Dolphins. Unless something catastrophic happens, which I don't think it would. But like they still, are kind of pretty much in the playoffs. I mean, unless the Dolphins just go and put up a bunch of points against them, and the Eagles just don't show up. Period. Because if you look at the Cowboys and the Packers, I mean, they've got the Cobras and they play each other, and then the Packers have the Falcons and then the Cowboys. So the Cowboys and the Packers got a chance to win a piece for each one, and then play each other for a playoff spot. So I mean, there's a good possibility the Eagles don't get into playoffs. I mean, there's a very good possibility that they don't.
Any more thoughts on the Warriors-Eagles game, gentlemen? Nope.
No,
Okay.
sir.
That will wrap up the Players Club Week 12 review. All right, and we'll go into the You Play Ball Like a Girl Week 13 preview. Week 13, guys, it is almost over. And a full slate of games this weekend. We have Saturday and Sunday with double headers. So, commentators, streamers, refs, everybody get on board, because if you're part of the UFL staff, you're going to be needed this weekend because it's a buttload of games. And we'll jump right into them right now. Friday, we have the Panthers against the Yellow Jackets. Saturday, early game, Mustangs, Warriors. Saturday, late game, Patriots, Dolphins. Sunday, early game, Titans, Bulldogs. Late game, Cobras, Cowboys. And Monday, the lone game there at 6 will be Packers against the Falcons. And guys, I'll sit back, I'll look at these matchups and playoff implications all over the board here. We got Panthers, Yellow Jackets, so that's got playoff implications. Patriots, Dolphins. Both of these teams are locked into the playoffs, but that is for the number 1 seed in the AFC. And let me see, Patriots, Dolphins. I think Packers, Falcons have implications in there as well. So, and Mustangs, Warriors. Don't want to forget that one either, because Mustangs have to win out. One of the teams actually fully controls their own destiny. Mustangs win out, Mustangs are in. So a lot of games to keep your eye on. If you are a big fan of what we do here, you have a lot to look forward to, because a lot of questions that we talk about in our playoff picture preview are going to be answered this weekend. So, all right, guys. Friday, Panthers versus the Yellow Jackets. It's like I'm not going to make you call your own game, but Dre, who you got and why you got him?
This game right here is actually, a game that I've been looking forward to seeing. Just because I know that both teams are very talented. The Panthers, of course, they've got a squad from top to bottom. Yellow Jackets, have a lot of great players. It's hard for me to call like who I would say would win the game. I kind of lean towards the Panthers winning because of the talent that they do have. But I don't discredit the Yellow Jackets. I think the Yellow Jackets could sneak up and take it away from the Panthers if the Panthers decide to not show up or just decide to take a day off or something. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Just saying both teams show up to play. But I mean, the Yellow Jackets have the team that can beat the Panthers.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, it's going to be a really close game. Both teams have earned their spot. As two very highly competitive teams. We've seen both teams, play, and both teams have come out, ahead. Panthers have got a good record coming into this. Yellow Jackets have a great record. Both have great teams. Both are good and set up. But I'm going to call the Panthers winning, And I think it's going to be by a sliver. I think it will be maybe by one touchdown, if that. If it comes down to field goals, I mean, we might see a win by just 3 points. So I think it's going to be a heavily contested game, back and forth, in all aspects.
All right, and Psych, you're going to be on the field. What do you expect to see from the Yellow Jackets while you're out there?
I think at this point in the season, we've got a pretty good idea of what they're bringing. I know early on there's a lot of intrigue with the two quarterbacks, and they do have a different look when it's Troy versus Cash. They have a lot of strengths depending on who's the QB. They also have different weaknesses depending on who's the QB. If it was earlier in the season, I would say that might give us some problems. This late in the season, like I said, there's plenty of film, plenty of research that we could do. I feel like, I mean, I could really worried about upsetting them. If they haven't been upset with me yet this season, they haven't listened to a single broadcast. So, I ain't really worried about giving them any more locker room material at this time. I feel like we know what we expect, and if we walk away with anything other than a loss, that's on us. Or other than a
Other than a
win,
win?
other than a win, that's on us.
Don't mess it up, Psych.
I,
Don't
I,
mess it up.
I do want to say something too, though. Is
Yeah, go ahead.
and just what Syke was saying that depending on really what Yellow Jackets team they do bring, I mean I still think the Panthers can beat on both both ways, but I think the Yellow Jackets have a better chance of winning this game with Troy at QB instead of having Cash at QB. Um, and simple fact is that the Panthers are a type of team that have the talent to shut down a Cash style offense, and I think he would be less effective as if they had Troy. But even if they did put Troy in, I think the Panthers would still win the game.
Um, I'm gonna just kind of piggyback on what you just said right there. I believe it's going to be a close game. I think this is definitely one of the candidates for the Shining Starlets Game of the Week because we have not announced that yet. I'm
That's my
commentating this
vote.
game. Yeah, I'm commentating this because I'm looking forward to seeing this game. We said playoff implications. If Yellow Jackets win, they really start to kind of separate themselves and make the road a lot more difficult for the teams behind them. A win by the Panthers really helps out, the Warriors, the Mustangs, and teams like that. So I think the Panthers do win, though. I think regardless of who they put out there, I think that top to bottom, the Panthers are more talented. Just like we said, it all depends on the team that shows up, and we've seen games, Jekyll and Hyde games, from pretty much all teams this season except for maybe the Bills. We're really good. You come out one week and you look like you can't lose, and then you come out the next week and you look like you can't win. So if, like Dre said, both teams come out, play their best game, I think the Panthers take it, and I think it's about 10 points. I think that's what we're going to be looking at in this game. So that was Friday, the Panthers against the Yellow Jackets. Saturday, early game and a big game in the NFC. Mustangs against the Warriors. That'll be the early one. Tom, who you got?
I'd hope if I turn my mic though. There we go. It's Marlowe with the Mustangs have been, they have been, really, really trying and really getting up and getting up to speed. She's taken the role of quarterback and team owner, and has really built that organization up. The Warriors have been rolling. They're coming off of a win last week, 43. The 3 versus the Eagles, so they're going to be good and fired up. But as long as Marlowe sticks to her guns and sticks to what she knows and sticks to just coming out there and just playing and not overthinking, I think they got a chance to win it. I think they will win it. Um, Based on that, as long as everybody stays focused and relax, I think they've got it. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Mustangs on this one.
Like,
I'm leaning Mustangs as well. I did this pick earlier. It was a fan question on the Power Rankings show. And I feel like ultimately the Mustangs whole season is going to come down to their next week game. I've got them picked winning this one. As far as actual matchups, I feel like they've got a good balance of receivers that can, really, really help along a young quarterback. So that's going to make all the difference in the world. The overall secondary for the Warriors is really good in spots. They have some weaknesses as well. I think that's going to ultimately be the difference in the game. I think the Mustangs have hit the stride at the right time in the season. I think they're playing their best football, and I think that they are going to come out on top.
Trey, you're going to be on the field. What do you expect to see from the Warriors?
I mean, we all know how the Warriors play. We know who who they've got. I mean, we know that they have a talented group. Um, we're not gonna take away from that at all. I mean, Gucci, Sick. I mean, they got some good players over there. Um, it's really gonna be a question of what team really shows up to play. I mean, once again, I know I keep saying it, but I mean, the Mustangs have a talent. We have a talent. That could match up against them and could overtake them. But at the same time, they have the same strengths. I mean, at any given time, they could beat us, and at any given time we could beat them. It really just depends on who's going to show up and play. I mean, I feel confident on how our team's prepared for the game. I feel confident on how what mindset we're in. It's like not discrediting anything you said about next week's game. It is a big game against the Yellow Jackets, but we have to take care of business this week, or next week really doesn't matter. So we know that we have to win out. We know that we have to win to keep going, to even have a chance. So we're focusing on this week and just get ready, Warriors. Here we go.
I'm looking forward to this one. They kind of another nominee definitely for the Shining Starlets Game of the Week, because Mustangs win and their push for the playoff continues, but a loss kind of hops jumps the Warriors right into the thick of things. And if I'm not mistaken, I think a loss eliminates the Mustangs completely from playoff contention. But we'll talk about all that stuff in a little bit. I look at both teams on paper. Mustangs definitely a strong team. Front four have played incredibly well. I think they'll be able to give Gucci a lot of problems. Gucci's a very talented runner. We know that. Very effective with the ball, and using his feet there. Secondary of the Warriors, like we said, strong. Still has their issues. This game, and it is the tale of every Mustangs game, is going to come down to turnovers. And every game comes down to turnovers. Whoever turns the ball over the most is going to lose more often than not. And I think that's going to be a lot of the thinking, because I think both teams are going to offer the other team opportunities to get the ball back. And it's going to be which of the defenses step up and make those plays that's going to ultimately prevail. Just how both teams are trending upward, but just saw the Warriors against the Eagles. I give them a slight advantage heading into this game. Dre's cutting his eyes at me. He's like, "You live right next door to me. How dare you pick against me?" Going to be a really, really good game. Um, I do think that the Warriors find a way in the end, to pull it out. So I'll be the lone person up here on the panel, that'll be taking the Warriors in this one. I hate it, but just kind of how I'm feeling about the teams at this point. Warriors also have a pretty nice little road to get themselves right back in the playoff hunt as well. So that'll be it for that Saturday game, Mustangs against the Warriors, and another candidate for the Shining Starlets Game of the Week. The Saturday late game will be Patriots against the Dolphins. Both of these teams have clinched a playoff berth, but this is for the number one seed in the playoffs in the AFC. Dre, who you got and why you got them?
And Patriots Dolphins. I like what the Patriots are doing. They're trending up at the right time. But I think the Dolphins have more power than the Patriots could really take on right now. So I'm gonna go with Dolphins. I mean, at least probably about 3 or 4 touchdowns.
What you got, Syke?
Yeah, I think you guys take care of business. I think y'all the Dolphins being, I think you do go ahead and clinch the first round or the first place spot on that side. I look for a balanced attack from the Patriots. Um, I think that they're probably going to try and go the approach of limiting possessions that we've seen some of the teams take against the high-powered offenses. So to just be a matter of how how they respond. I think having said my pick, I think if the Patriots are going to win, I think the roadmap is to score early, get a lead and play with a lead, and then capitalize on some turnovers. I think if they do happen to win, that would be how, but I'm not picking it.
All right, Tom. Because I asked Syke and I asked Dre, so I guess we have to talk about ours too. What are you expecting to see out of the Patriots.
Well, I'm going to have a great view from the bench, so I'm looking. I'm looking for him to bring a lot of big toss-ups. They tend to put it in the air to Tupac, and he seems to just have a magnet for that ball in those toss-ups. The last game that I streamed, I streamed their last game, and it was just I can't answer like how just I don't know. I have no idea how he does that, but I look to see quite a few of those because there's his hands. I mean, that's his goal. That's what he's going to do. I think we're going to see a lot of those, against us. I think we're going to see some runs out of them. I think they're going to try and test our defensive line, just like a lot of teams have been doing lately. So looking forward to
They're going to run and they're going to pass against us. That's the goal. No, I'm a lot of and, I've kind of been on the Patriots bandwagon. Excuse my squeaky chair. The past couple of weeks, they've been doing great. Fearsome, strong player. Really been exploding on the scene. Taking advantage of his opportunity to kind of be the main man. While in Tupac's absence, then you bring Tupac back in, and that receiving core just explodes. You still got Pit Dog back there, and you got Rasden, who's continuing to grow as a quarterback as well. They have a lot of firepower on offense. Fearsome on the ground, through the air. Tupac definitely through the air. One of the most talented receivers in the league. Looking forward to the challenges that's going to present our secondary with toss ups. And as far as kind of finding, because they kind of move Fearsome around and he does a couple of different things, I'm really kind of watching and seeing how they're going to try to use him in this game. I know they do a lot of handoffs. They'll run it with Pit Dog a good bit as well. So kind of piggybacking on what Tom said, yeah, they're going to throw it a lot. They're going to run it a lot. I'm looking forward and for them to really test almost every facet of our defense. And then offensively, we have to protect the quarterback. We have to get our blocks. We have to give Cam time and let him continue to make good decisions. And then as the receivers make the grabs when we have the opportunities. But I'm looking forward to a good game. Um, like I said, this is for the number one seed, so there is pressure in this on both teams. It is definitely a big game for the Dolphins and for the Patriots, and not one that that either one of the teams are taking lightly, because you want all the momentum that you can have going into the playoffs. So definitely looking forward to that one. That is Saturday. That's a late game. That is at 7, and then Sunday doubleheader are going to be there as well. Titans against the Bulldogs. I'm going to go ahead and throw my little 2 cents in here. I don't think this is going to be close, and I think the Titans are going to win big. Dre, what you got?
Piggyback, same thing. Titans by 40, so plus.
Yep. Sight.
I think this is like Rocky Seven. I expect a good show, but at this point, we know what to expect from the Bulldogs. It's just like, I mean,
Jesus.
it's going to follow the script. It's like you replace the placard on who they're playing against, and you're almost going to see the same show. So, and I don't mean that disrespect to either team. It's just, I mean, if you look at the records, that's what's going on. Titans are playing very solid ball right now. That's horrible news for the Bulldogs because they're just top to bottom. They're not going to match up that well.
What do you think, Tom?
Titans by 70.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Whoa.
Titans by 70. All right. Sunday, late game Cowboys Cobras. I think it's going to be a lot like the Titans Bulldogs game. I think it's going to be Cowboys by a wide margin in that one as well. Tom, what you got?
Cowboys by 60.
Sight.
Wow, are we picking the series now? And
I don't have much to say. I mean,
I don't think it's going to be that high. I'm thinking more like 35-14.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 30 to 40s type deal. Is that all you got? It's like,
Yeah, I'm good.
oh, okay. I thought you had more. I'm sorry. All right,
No,
Dre,
well, I mean it's
yeah, I got you. Dre, what you got?
Um, I mean, I hate like just to be over. Well, Cowboys by 130.
Yeah.
I hate being like that, but I want to say like if the Cobras can show up and play like they did for the first quarter of the Panthers game, I think they can give the Cowboys all they can handle. But that's the thing is that happened one time, in a 13-week season so far. So I don't see it happening. I think the Cowboys are still going to win. I wouldn't say 60 points. I would probably say maybe 4 touchdowns if the Cobras don't show up.
All right. And then the Monday game, we have the Packers against the Falcons. Dre, what you got?
Once again, it's really when Falcons teams show up. I think the Packers are going to give them more than what they can do with no matter who shows up. I think the Packers are going to win the game. I think the Falcons will keep it closer if they have everybody that they need show up and they play the game that they can play. I mean, because not to take anything away from the Falcons. I mean, they're still a decent team. I mean, they've had some bad luck with players and things like that. I mean, I hate that they're having the luck they are, but I mean, they do have some talented guys on there, and the people that they have recruited, are pretty talented. So, I mean, they have a chance to win a game, but I don't know if it's going to be this week.
Tom, Falcons, them your boys. What do you think?
They've had some tough straws. They've played their hearts out, and they really played hard last game. And I'm gonna hop on their side this time. I think they're gonna be able to put it together for the Packers. And I don't think it's not gonna be a huge margin. It's not gonna be an easy win. It's gonna be a tough win. It's gonna require certain key players showing up for the Falcons to be able to secure this win. They're gonna have to have, their receiving core. They're gonna have to have their line get there. In order for the Falcons to win, every player on there is going to have to do their job to be able to do that, and Baldev just can't step back 40 yards. I'm gonna go with the Falcons winning. Give them some points. Give them maybe at least a touchdown winning, but and I think it'll come in late. Late in the game. It's not going to be a walk away or an easy game the entire time. They're going to have to battle the entire time.
Like, what you got?
I see. I was mad that Tom picked them because I was going to go with the Dirty Birds in this one as well.
Well, you can go with the Dirty Birds still.
I am. I just think overall they're hitting on better cylinders right now. I think that the ball got rolling against them with the Patriots, and at that point they just couldn't get out of the way of it. So I think that if they don't let an early mistake or two knock them off course, if they keep their wits about them, keep a level of calm, I do think that this is a very winnable game for them, and I do have them coming out on top somewhere along the lines of like a 31 to 21.
Yeah, I think these teams are very similar in the fact that if one manages to get a two-score lead, the other tends to panic. See the Packers, and we've seen it uh, majority of the season, go into panic mode when they get down. They start throwing it deep. They just start chunking it down the field, hoping for the
Both
best.
teams are
Yeah,
are both doing that too. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm
it's.
saying. That's
I
what I'm
got you. I
saying.
got you.
Both of these teams do that. So whichever team is able to come out, like you said, Syke, if the Falcons are able to avoid that mistake, I think that between the two, I think the Falcons may have cooler heads than the Packers do. As far as I think, like, and when I say this, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but like, I guess the team maturity, I think with Ball Dev is a little bit more, and they could maybe weather a storm a little bit better than the Packers would be able to. If they don't have that early fumble, if they're able to get some points on the board early, then I think the Falcons have the potential to walk away with the game. And I do think that the Falcons are going to win it. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, and these teams to me are mirror images of each other. I think they play a lot alike. They have strengths in the same areas. They have weaknesses in the same areas. So like whichever one's able to score first, I almost feel that team's going to win, just by how they typically react to a deficit. It's just my thoughts, but I think that the Falcons are going to find a way to come away with that here, and that is the what
I just want to say it ain't a sleeper pick. If three of y'all pick the Falcons, and I'm the only one pick the Packers.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't pick it as a sleeper pick. They did.
I'm just saying because like Thomas like was acting like it was a sleeper pick. Like, oh, that's the upset I was gonna pick. Well, it ain't upset if it's
It's
three
not.
on one.
Well, it's not. I would think it's
Well, I mean, the
upset either
Falcons
way.
have always been my boys, and it's
Well,
they've been
I
pulling some really tough teams and really tough losses, and I think they're getting a little of that mojo back, and
Yeah,
it's
I was feeling bad for how I was feeling for him how bad Tom's been treating him lately. So I was gonna I was
I
gonna
just, I just think they're gonna win.
no,
I
and
mean,
that's the honest to goodness
they're
thing.
gonna
look at
win.
Matt trying to be the innocent one.
I just
Right?
think they're
No,
gonna win. I mean,
and
yeah. I don't
and
ever get
I
IMs
will
from Baldev anymore, so
I, I I will call it, and I'll still call it a sleeper pick because I mean, let's just raise our other than Tom. How many times have anybody picked the Falcons to win this
this is my
season?
first time.
Right. Okay. See, rest my case. I think I've picked them a couple other times, but it's not a team that you normally favor. At least as far as the
Packers
quote
aren't
unquote
either.
hosts. Right. Well, this is true. Um, so maybe that would
but
discount it from being what you'd call a sleeper, but I do think they notch up the win belt this week,
I agree with that.
sleeper or not.
Sleeper. So that was the You Play Ball Like a Girl Week 13 preview, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, Panthers, Yellow Jackets. Saturday, Mustangs, Warriors. Late game Saturday, Patriots, Dolphins. Early game Sunday, Titans, Bulldogs. Late game Cobras, Cowboys. And Monday, we have the Packers against the Falcons. We have yet to announce the Shining Starlets Game of the Week. So, nominees for this kind of, sort of, pretty much are Panthers, Yellow Jackets, Mustangs, Warriors. I guess you could say Patriots, Dolphins because it's for the number one seed. My vote personally, I'm going to go Panthers, Yellow Jackets. And, well, man, we got two people here. So, Tom, what do you got? We got a Panther, we got a Mustang. So,
I got the
what do you
Panthers and the
say?
Yellow Jackets as well.
All right, that's what it's going to be then. Friday will be the
Done.
Panthers. Yellow Jackets will be the Shining
That's some
Starlets.
bullshit. No, I'm just kidding.
I should have picked the Mustangs because I didn't pick them to win this week.
No, no.
Yeah,
I was gonna pick the Panthers Yellow Jackets anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a more important game.
Well, I mean, both are equally as important.
And in
And
my
yellow,
opinion, the
this game's
Packers and
really
Falcons
important.
are close second in my
Yeah,
choice.
and we really kind of started breaking it down. You had the Panthers, Yellow Jackets. That game's really, I mean, it's important for the Panthers. I mean, because they clinch then, like, there's no possible way, which I mean is a very slim chance that they could miss out on it anyways. But Yellow Jackets win really helps them out. So more of an important game for the Yellow Jackets, whereas Mustangs Warriors is like one of these teams lose, whichever team loses is done. See, now that makes me want to kind of change my pick, but we've already decided it, and we're moving on. That's all I'm saying.
Dum
All
dum
right.
dum.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But that is what the Shining Starlets game of the week will be on Friday. What we're going to do now, we're going to talk a little bit about the playoff picture, how it's shaping, who has clinched, who's still in it, who do they have remaining, and kind of what do we expect? What teams will we say make it when it's all said and done? Over in the AFC, first place we have Dolphins at 4-0 in the conference. Of course, we know that it is conference record, overall record, and then I think points against. I think that's how it breaks down. And then anything tied beyond that, I believe, is settled by an on the field tiebreaker. If I'm not mistaken, is that right? You guys say is that right?
I
Yeah.
think that's right.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Well, you know what? If it's not, that's what we're going with, and that's what we're doing now. But anyways, the Dolphins are number one at 4-0, and all these records I'm going to give you are the conference ones because that's the most important records, of course. Patriots are 4-1, Eagles 3-2, Cowboys 3-2, Packers 2-2, Falcons 1-4, Bulldogs 0-6. Then in the AFC, Bills are 5-0, Titans 4-1. Panthers 3-1, Yellow Jackets 2-2, Mustangs 1-3, Warriors 0-3, Cobras 0-5. The only teams that have been eliminated, and of course, guys, I know y'all looked over this, but feel free to correct me if there's any that need to be. Are the Falcons and the Bulldogs in the AFC? I don't think there's any way for them to make it, and with their schedule and remaining schedules for their teams as well, and the Cobras in the NFC. So NFC wide open, all except for one team right now. The only teams that have clinched a playoff spot cannot miss out, even if they lost every game remaining on their schedule, will be the Dolphins and the Patriots in the AFC. and the Bills and the Titans in the NFC. And like we said, Panthers are about 99.9% clinched. There's very little chance. I mean, but there's still a sliver of a possibility. So we can't give them that clinched little tag just yet. So guys, we're going to look over. We're going to be in the AFC first. We have the Dolphins, Patriots, Eagles, Cowboys, and Packers. We said Dolphins and Patriots have clinched. Eagles at 3-2, Cowboys at 3-2, and Packers are at 2-2. The Eagles have the Dolphins remaining. That's their lone game on their schedule. The Cowboys have the Cobras and the Packers. So that is a cross cross the an out of conference and a conference game. And then the Packers and the Cowboys. What helps the Packers out here is the fact that they have 2 conference games remaining as opposed to the Cowboys one. But I do believe that Cowboys Packers game will be for that final, fourth and final playoff spot. But that is where we're sitting at currently. Eagles, Cowboys, and Packers vying for the last 2 spots. One of those teams will miss out. And guys, if you had to call it right now, looking at who's remaining, looking at their schedule, looking at how they performed, what are you expecting to see in the AFC as we wind down these last 3 weeks of the season? And we'll start with eeny, meeny, miny, sight.
Um, well, clarify again. You're just wanting to know what I'm
Yeah,
thinking they're going to do.
kind of
Wins,
what you're
losses.
thinking.
Like,
Yeah,
okay,
like who do you like? You got 3 teams remaining that have a chance to make it in. What team's not going to make it?
okay. So we're talking AFC.
Yeah.
I really think. No, all right. Now clarify on this because I hope I'm not finding a mistake on the card and then this blows everything up. But like, do some teams only have 6 conference games and others have 7?
That should be even.
Because like, well, all right. Look at the Eagles. They're 3-2. They remain against the Dolphins. That's a total of six games. Cowboys are 3-2, but they have 2 left. Packers are 2-2, and they have
But
2
with the
left.
Cowboys' other game is not
Yeah,
is a
it's not.
non-conference
It's a
game.
non-conference game. The
Right,
Cobras
but
are not in the AFC, so they
Yeah,
would
the
still.
Cobras
It
are
would
in
be
the
3-3. It
but
would
I'm
be 6.
That's
okay.
not their overall record. That's only their
Yeah, that's
conference
just a
record.
conference record.
They will
Okay,
only
all
have a
right, all right.
possible 6 conference games.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, it's late. It's been a rough week.
It's okay, dude. When I wrote this, I had a headache. So
Thursday nights are like the end of 3-12s in a row for me every week now.
I know.
It's all right. So let's rewind then. Um, okay, so that's all right. So I'm just gonna out loud vocalize here. Eagles drop to the Dolphins. It's gonna knock them 3-3. Cowboys beat the Cobras, but that one doesn't matter. I do think they beat the Packers, so that puts them at 3-3 also. They have the head-to-head, but that really won't matter because they'll have the same conference, and then they would have a. Actually, no, I'm sorry. If they beat the Packers, I put them at 4-2, so that puts them ahead. All right, so I really think that the Packers are going to be the team looking on the outside in here because if what we're saying happens this week and they do drop to the Falcons, I'm certainly picking against them against the Cowboys. So by default, that's going to put the Eagles and Cowboys in as your 3 and 4 seed as far as whichever one's which. Who knows? But
for the Packers to make it, they'll have to beat the Falcons. They'll have to win out. The Packers win out. They find their way into it because they would have they'd have the notch in the AFC, the conference record. So I mean, pretty much the Packers are in the same boat as the Mustangs are. You win and you're in. The Packers drop one of these games and it's pretty much over because even if they were to beat the Cowboys, they wouldn't have their overall record would be worse because the Cowboys are going to notch a win against the Cobras, so they're going to have 4.
But that's a non-conference game. That's not going to
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, but I'm saying but then if the Packers beat the Cowboys, they'll be tied at 3-2 if the Packers lose to the Falcons. But the Cowboys would have one more win on their overall record than
The funny thing is the Packers could still lose to the Falcons, and if they beat the Cowboys, they still have a chance to get in. And I think that really just depends on how bad really the Dolphins put up points against the Eagles. Because as we talked about it at the beginning of the show, before we actually went on air, we talked about why they were going against points against, and this is actually a case where it's actually going to come into play. I mean, if the Dolphins put up a lot of points on the Eagles, the Eagles, even though they're sitting at 3-3, could be eliminated from it because that would put them a lot more points than say what the Packers or Cowboys had. And just say if Packers lose here, beat the Cowboys, well, that puts Cowboys and Packers at 3-3. So I mean, you would have the Packers Cowboys going, and Eagles dropping out, depending on how many points Dolphins put up. I mean, I don't see that happening. I see the Packers beating the Falcons, but I see the Cowboys beating the Packers. So I mean, but that's just a scenario that could happen. I mean,
We could sit here all night long and talk about
right?
the potentials of that. But yeah, I mean, you could be sitting here at the end of the season, and the Eagles, Cowboys, and Packers all be 3-3 in the conference, and then you'd have a mess as you try to sort
Right.
Well,
through
well,
who
that would
who
be
all's going to be in there.
advantage Eagles because they're sitting at a 40 point in the points ahead.
Yep, that's
Um,
true.
Cowboys and Packers are a lot more competitive in that regard, so that would make it an interesting showdown.
Definitely. But I think like a lot like how Sykes says, I think it'll really come down um, to that final week matchup between the two of them on who's going to be with that one. But all right, Tom, what do you think? Because we talked and you didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything for a pretty exact reason. There's a lot of numbers on this board, and
Numbers make your head
this
hurt.
is not really something that. And I mean, in all my years watching football and stuff like that, I've never been the one to crunch all. I just like watching football and talking about football. Just looking at it, I think Packers are going to be looking to get the next out, as the Warriors. That's that's really all I got. Like I just don't have a lot of input in all this. So
Well, my prediction, I know I didn't get to give it or whatever. I know we talked about it, but I'm predicting that the Eagles will make it, and I'm predicting the Cowboys will make it over the Packers. I think the Packers will take care of business this week, but I think they'll lose to the Cowboys the following week, and I think it'll be Dolphins, Patriots 1 and 2, Eagles, Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys will actually overtake the Eagles um, and be the third seed, and the Eagles be the fourth.
Yep, and that'll be for who's going to play the Patriots and who's going to play the Dolphins in that
Right.
first because it'll be 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. But like we said, this weekend is so important. One for seeding, like Dolphins, Patriots. Two, for playoff implications. I mean, we're going to talk about this again next week, and there's going to be a lot more X's on this note card that I've written as opposed to Empties and stars because people are going to be start truly becoming eliminated starting this weekend. But I think that for the most part, across the board, we're kind of set on in the AFC who we think is going to make it, and for those reasons as well. And then in the NFC, you have, like we said, we have the Bills at 5-0. We have the Titans at 4-1. We have the Panthers at 3-1. We have the Yellow Jackets at 2-2. We have the Mustangs at 1-3. We have the Warriors at 0-3. We have the Cobras at 0-5. And the Bills and the Titans have clinched playoff spots. So if you're a Titans or you're a Bills fan or you're a player and you happen to be watching the show, you're having a little celebration parties like the college teams do when they get selected for bowl games. You guys have made it in. You don't have to worry about it. You could lose both your games and you're still good to go. But I don't think it's going to happen for either one of you, anyways. But yeah. So we start looking at this. You look at the thing and you go, okay, Warriors are 0-3. How in the world are they still in it? They haven't even won a conference game. Well, I'm going to tell you how. Their three remaining games are against the Mustangs, the Titans, and the Cobras. They had that rescheduled game against the Cobras, so that's puts them kind of behind the eight ball there. So they are the only team with the only team that honestly in the entire league that has 3 games left. Are going to be playing each of the last 3 weeks of the season, and all three of them are conference games and big ones. And it starts with the Warriors. Excuse me, with the Mustangs game this week because that game is going to jump the Warriors up over the Mustangs and pretty much eliminate the Mustangs at that point. And then the Warriors are going to have 2 more opportunities against the Titans and the Cobras. I think it's fair to say that they're going to win the Cobras game. So then they're really kind of honing in on the Yellow Jackets. I mean, if you've ever wanted to hit your stride as a team and do what you did to the Eagles last week, if you're the Warriors, this is it because you got a long road ahead of you. You've got a very attainable goal, and you've got some very winnable games. I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch this one because the AFC, I mean, like we said, was pretty cut and dry. But this one, there's so many things that can go on. So we'll start with you, Dre. And I know it's kind of hard to really predict because you are in this conference. So is Psych. But all thoughts aside, you're talking about your team, justly. What do you expect to see as the season unfolds? You see who they got remaining. Who do you think at the end of the day we're going to be sitting and seeing in the playoffs for the NFC?
We're guaranteed spots 1 and 2. I mean, it's gonna be Bills Titans. Um, I think they're holding on to, like I said, 1 and 2. Panthers, go ahead and give them the knock for 3. It's a very, very slim chance that they don't, get in. But yeah, I don't see it happening. Um, it's it's hard, to make a prediction, especially when you're involved in it. The Warriors, the Mustangs, and the Yellow Jackets, all 3 teams, great teams. Everybody's shooting for, that one spot. And I mean, it makes for good football and it makes for, an exciting season. I just wish, the kind of talent was dispersed a little better as far as the division wise. I mean, if you look at it, you got 6 of the top 8 teams in one division. And it kind of makes it
That
fun,
random
but
generation.
yeah, the randomness that happens
Yeah.
here. We won't talk about all that, but
Dun, dun,
um,
dun.
that's another show. um, I see. I don't see the Warriors making it in. Even if the Warriors did beat the Mustangs this week, and I think when they go against the Titans, they're going to lose, which will automatically, knock them out of, you know, the rotation. I don't see them getting past the Mustangs this week, so I think they're going to be knocked out anyway. Um, as far as Yellow Jackets, if they lose to the Panthers, they still have a chance. Then it would put the Mustangs and the Yellow Jackets playing next week for that final spot, and it's going to be pretty much one of those games of who wants it more, really. Eh, I can't believe y'all put me on the spot to actually make a decision here. This is the
Go with
hardest
the
thing in the world.
pulse, Dre.
It's the
Fight
hardest
facts.
thing in the world. But you know what, man? I'm going out guns blazing, dude. The Mustangs are
Do
going
it.
to the playoffs. Mustangs going to the
Heck
playoffs.
yeah, that's what I
We're
like.
taking we're
Call
taking
it.
the 4th seed. I'm sorry,
Heck, you're
everybody.
taking the
Y'all can
third
hate me.
seed. Put that fourth
I'm already
seed.
getting
Third seed.
IMs. I'm already gonna start getting IMs. But yeah, we're gonna take the 4th seed,
Third seed.
um, and go home with it.
Y'all ever taking the Panthers? Call it. Go ahead and call it. Call the whole shot. I
We
mean,
ain't
if you
taking over
going
the.
in, dude,
Shut
freaking
up.
go in. Don't just dip your toe in the pool. Cannonball. That's all I'm saying.
Screw it. We win in the Super Bowl. We're
There you
going
go.
all
There
Hey,
you
in.
there ain't no
go.
reason not to
Right?
believe it. Hey, all
He
you gotta
just
do is
said,
get in.
"Giddy
All you
up."
gotta do is get in. You get in, anything can happen. What you got, Syke? And then I'll talk about it because Tom said he doesn't know anything.
Right.
Dot dot dot.
Wow. All right. So starting from the bottom.
You don't know numbers.
I think by the end of the season that the Warriors Cobras game might be a little bit more in play than what you guys are thinking because I honestly see them dropping the next 2 to the Mustangs and the Titans, and at that point, what's there left to play for? Whether or not they're going to figure that out or not. So this week is ultra important to them. But either way, like Dre was touching on, I don't pick them. Against the Titans at all. It was kind of funny in my mind. I had a little radio show where every now and then you'll hear him ring that little bell when one of them says something that they really like. Well, in my mind, I was ringing that bell whenever he said for the Warriors, their door's going to close against the Titans, regardless of what they do against the Mustangs. Even though I think that the Mustangs are going to win, um, Mustangs, I, I'm not saying that I won't pick them next week against the Yellow Jackets. I'm picking them this week against the Warriors. What I really want to see is where exactly. I know she's improved. There's a difference, though, entirely in quarterbacking and quarterbacking it at the next level. And for her to take that next step, that's what's going to be required. And I say that with all due respect. I got nothing against Marlowe at all. But she's going to have to step her game up in these upcoming games. She's got a lot of pieces around her that can help out. But at some point, the quarterback's going to take the horse by the reins, pun intended, and either guide it, or slow it down.
User
So
in your channel timed out.
that I think is going to be the story as far as whether or not I'm picking the Mustangs against the Yellow Jackets in the following week. After the Yellow Jackets get manhandled by us Friday night, they've got.
Dang, there it is. I
I'm
like it.
just playing. I
Nah,
had
you
to
ain't
throw that
not.
out there. I had to throw that out there to get. I had to top Dre. But no, after we play them, and I do think that it's going to be a little closer. Um, After we do play them, I personally, I mean, I'll just be perfectly transparent with you here, because that's what I'm good at. Uh, I would like for us to go ahead and get that win and solidify it because you know, from a competitive standpoint, it would be great for our game against the Bills to not mean anything. Not saying that I wouldn't pick us to win. It would be one of those homer picks if I did, but it's a team that we only feel like we only want to beat once, you know. And if we win against the Yellow Jackets, quite honestly, it's not going to mean anything to beat them the following week because we're just going to line them right up against in the playoffs when it quote quote really counts. So while I certainly will say that I want to win every game out, it's not a game that I want to have to say that we have to win to do this or that and be forced to feel like, you know, we've got to really reveal some of the things that we've been working on for them. So, you know, I kind of think that we'll be okay following the Yellow Jackets. Titans, I think, are in. You know, obviously they're clinched. You know, as far as who they've got left, I think they're winning out. I think they finish at 9-1 overall, 5-1, you know, in the conference, and that's yeah. That, I mean, and then the Bills, you know, they're closing out after a devastating Week 14 loss to us. But no, just I
Dre
mean,
called
look,
a shot, dropped the
right,
mic, and left.
right, he
Dre
did.
just peace.
He did.
I'm out.
So yeah, no, I think there's some still very good football, you know, left over on the NFC. The top two spots are decided. I feel like, you know, we've penciled our name in on the as one of the third teams. I think seeding can still swap up a little bit, but I think that we've penciled our name in as at least
Y'all would
one of
have to
the.
really blow it to not
Yeah,
make it. Like, I
yeah.
mean, I'm talking about likes of which we've never seen before.
You're talking about
Blow it. Yellow
like
Jackets have to destroy you. Bills would have to destroy you, and I mean, a lot would have to happen for you guys not to make it. I mean, it's all but clinched, really.
yeah,
I mean,
like
it's
Cubs leaning over, Cubs fan leaning over and catching the foul ball that would have been the third out, and
yeah.
then they lose the series.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm following you.
that's right. It's gonna take a lot, and like I said, the only reason that the little star it and buy it is because there is mathematically a way that you couldn't make it, but chances are slim to none that you don't. And I believe that next week we're gonna have that little star next to it anyway, because I believe that you're gonna win. I think as a sports fan, even though I picked the Warriors to beat the Mustangs this weekend, if I'm looking at the whole thing and I want
User
the
joined your
next
channel.
2 to 3 weeks of football to be most meaningful and the most exciting. Yeah, I said Drake called a shot and freaking was gone. Um,
I lost
but
power. Sorry.
I I would want the Mustangs to beat the Warriors because I do believe that even if the Warriors beat the Mustangs, I don't think they're going to beat the Titans. Um, you know, I think that the Warriors winning is going to eliminate 2 of the teams. You know, I think the Warriors have the upper hand against the Mustangs. I do. But if I want the 2 weeks to mean the most, I want the Warriors to win because then what's going to happen? You're going to have the same situation that I believe you're going to have in the on the other side in the AFC. Um, you're gonna have that Mustangs Yellow Jackets game be so big. I mean, that is it. That is as big. I mean, outside of playoff and championship, that is as big of a regular season game as you will ever see because playoff is. I mean, it's on the line. It's all on the line right there, and that's saying that that the Yellow Jackets don't beat the Panthers. That you guys handle business. So if you handle business for the Mustangs, Mustangs handle business against the Warriors. Next week, I'm telling you the Shining Starlets game of the week's already going to be. And it's going to be a huge freaking game. So, as a sports fan, if you don't really care, you need to pull for the Mustangs. You need to pull for the Panthers if you want the next 2 weeks to be really, really, really meaningful, exciting football, which I think is going to be exciting anyway. But that kind of wraps up, I believe, which I don't think really called our mayor psych. I think that it's going to be the Panthers. I think it's going to be the Panthers and the Yellow Jackets ultimately that make it in. I think the four, the top 4 that are there are the top 4 that's going to stay there um, at the end of the day. But I'm looking forward to some great football, and I picked the Warriors to win, but man, the Mustangs pull it out. I ain't gonna be shocked at all. So, Psych, I don't think you called it, but what's your 4 gonna be?
Oh, yeah, it was because I kind of, I really, like I said, I really want to evaluate where Marlowe's at, QB
Hey, you can
wise
change it
and
next week, dude. You can change
intensity.
it. It's
I
just
know,
this
but I
week.
feel bad about that. If I had to go right now, wave of emotion.
You want to
See,
say Mustangs?
I didn't even
Want to
do this
say it?
on, I didn't even do this on my own,
That's
like
why
the Tuesday
that's why
show.
this show's better.
Uh,
Put you on the spot. You're not in charge. You don't run this ship. I'm put you on the spot.
Whoa.
Right. All right.
He
Dropping
can't
Yeah.
dodge it.
bombs.
He
I,
can't dodge it, Dre. He can't dodge it.
I'm right now. I'm pulling a Neo. Everything's slowed down, and I'm just moving around.
Ooh.
So no, I'll go ahead and say Mustangs. I think they'll ride a wave of momentum, and I think like I said, the Yellow Jackets are going to be regrouping a little bit after this week, and
Yep.
hoping, really feeling. See, it's the momentum thing. The Mustangs, they're already in playoff football. So
Yep.
what's another week? To them. Whereas the Yellow Jackets are looking, all right, guys, we can clinch this week, and then if they lose, they don't. It's kind of hard to be like, okay, we can clinch this week too. So I think that it might spiral a little bit on them towards the end. And I mean, again, this is a team that we've seen over the course of the season. One of the reasons that that I'm not really well received at all things Yellow Jackets at the moment, as I'm real quick to point out when this team falters. Oh, do they falter? They don't.
Yeah.
They lose close once, and then everything else has been. Whenever they drop a game, it's like mercy rule central. So. Um, I think that's just a tendency of this team is that when things go bad, they go horribly bad. So if the Mustangs roll in there with some positive vibes and momentum, then the potential is there that they kind of knock them off.
Yeah,
So
I think if I'm the Yellow Jackets or the Mustangs, it would behoove the Yellow Jackets to not have the mentality that you just described. They have to have the mentality that the Mustangs have, that you have to win both of these games to make it. Granted, if the Yellow Jackets, they know they just need to win one of the two to make it, but your mentality has to be the Mustangs and the Yellow Jackets mentalities have to be the same, where you have to say, okay, we have to win both of these games to get in, even if you really don't, but so that you don't have that letdown, that you're talking about. You put all the emotion into one, you don't have it, then you kind of got to get up for the other one. You need to already know that both of these games of the season are equally as important, but none. And just like Dre was saying, to your point that you made on the power ranking show, the Mustangs Yellow Jackets game has the potential to be huge, but the Mustangs Warriors game is equally as huge this weekend. They have to win this one before that one even matters, because if the Warriors beat them, then it's not going to matter. And two of the team, if the Warriors beat the Mustangs, that's the greatest thing for the Yellow Jackets because, in my opinion, they're in. I
yeah,
mean,
I
that's
agree,
it. That's it.
100%. Yep.
That's it. So if you're a Yellow Jackets fan or player, you're pulling hard for the Warriors because if they win, you got it. I mean, it's going to be decided next week. I mean, we'll still be waiting to put the official little bow on it, but that's just what it's going to be. You know.
I think my pick kind of rattled somebody upstairs because about 30 seconds after I made my pick, my whole street went black. So
Yep. Said,
I
not
think I
today,
upset
son.
somebody.
No, but that's gonna wrap it up for. No, we still got the player of the game, player of the week. Excuse me. Don't let me
Say, man,
forget.
we ain't even. Yeah,
We
somebody's
still
getting
got.
shoes.
We ain't even
Somebody's getting them.
scratched the
Somebody's getting them.
surface.
No, we've scratched the freaking whole thing. It's been scratched.
Nope, we're starting over.
All right, from the beginning. Welcome to the Pulse, ladies and gentlemen. Live from no. All right, we're going to transition, of course, into who's going to be the combatant player of the week. I think we had who was it last week that won it?
Fearsome, I think, wasn't it?
Fearsome?
Was it
No.
Fearsome?
Did it? Did he win it? Who won it last week?
Pearson won it 2 weeks
No,
ago.
Otis. Otis won it.
Otis, yeah,
Yeah,
Otis.
this
Yeah,
past
Won.
but
week
it was
was
from
Otis. Yep.
it was from us. It was from our game. That's right. All right, let me pull up the fan vote. We're gonna see which way the fans are leaning. I gotta scroll down because we got so much going on the Pulse Facebook page. Pick Montana from the Cowboys has the fan vote. The nominees are Pick Chris Taco or Lieutenant Dan, Fearsome yet again, and Gucci from the Warriors. So we have nobody on any of our teams on this. So we all get to pick who we think. So Pick's already got one vote from the fans. Dre, who you got?
Hmm.
It's tough this week. It's
Yeah, it
tough.
is. I mean, because it was really no close game. So really,
Yeah.
you can't say like one player made the choice of,
Well, it was no
you
close
know.
games and no performance that just exploded above everybody. Like typically in a week like this, you have like those games like Cash had that we've seen Jaden. Just a player just completely just explode all over all over
Right, right.
make it happen. And we didn't have any of that really happen this past weekend. So who you got?
I'm gonna go with pick from the Cowboys.
All right, it's 2 for pick. Psych, who you got?
God, normally I vote against the fans this week, and it's kind of weird. This week I was just sitting there looking, and it's just like I don't know. I think I started the show, and I hadn't made my mind up going through it. I mean, I think all four. I think they got it right as far as who the true player of each of those games were. But I really just overall kind of decided maybe 10 minutes ago. I guess I was reading through it and debating that I was going to go with pick as well. So that would be a vote for pick.
That would be 3, and there's only 2 of us left, so we don't even really have to vote.
Yeah, it's not.
You wanna toss it in?
Yep. Nope.
No, I don't want to either because
Yeah, I mean it's already it's a tough
It
one
is
to
decided.
choose. I mean, and it's
So
Yeah, so-
congratulations, pick Montana of the Cowboys for being the Week 12 Combatant Player of the Week. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you once again for joining us here. Do we have any questions? I don't know if anyone dropped anything in while we were going through.
no, I don't have anything in the Twitch in the Twitch channel. Twitch channel, you got about 30 seconds to get your questions in.
Got it while I'm rolling through our wrap up. I know it's really, really late. The owners meeting and stuff went pretty late for us tonight. But we're gonna try to change things up maybe here as far as timing pretty soon. So I'm getting kind of tired of doing it so late. So I'm just saying it's not just now happening, but it's to this point. So yeah, we want to thank you again for joining us here on the Pulse. If you are interested in becoming a part of the media group, getting involved with shows like this or anything else that we have going on, commentating, streaming, we're always looking to add new people to the group. Contact me, contact Site, contact Tom. We'll get you all of the information that you need. If you are interested in refing, they're always looking for people as well. Please contact Rasden Resident and get him, your information. He'll get you all set up as far as the refing goes. And we're always looking to expand the staff, both as far as refs and as far as media. And it's going to take a continual group effort, which this season has been absolutely phenomenal. How this league has been set up from me being a part of the owners' meetings and being a part of the overall organization, it's just an amazing thing when you've been involved with past leagues like I have, and I know like Psych has, and Tom's seen maybe just a little bit, to see where this league is, kind of how they do things. It's not perfect, um, but the mentality is there to do things in a way that's never been done before, and really, really happy to be a part of this. Tom, did you get any questions? Anybody get anything?
No, not as I am aware. Nope, no questions here for
All
the
right.
Twitch
Cool.
side.
No questions, and that's going to wrap us up here. We will be back here tomorrow night, not the Pulse, but actual football with the Shining Starlets game of the week, the Panthers against the Yellow Jackets to kick off what is going to be a huge weekend of football. Seeds are going to be selected, teams are going to be eliminated. Everything's going to be all jumbled up as we head down the stretch run here in the UFL season. Push for the playoffs has been going on for a while, but this weekend, it's all going to start being set in stone for us, black and white. No more thoughts on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for joining us. We will be live from the Warriors field next Thursday, and we will see you all there. I'm Matt, he's Dre, that's Psych, Tom's hanging out on the end. We will see you guys next Thursday. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Adios.
Toodles.